So let's continue. So been very, very interesting topic, and I'm learning this topic just in another class in Rambam. It's very, very not simple. So just so we know, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch simplified as much as possible. I mean, right, for sure. I mean, makes it more readable and more understandable. I mean, Rambam is amazing, but it's not about like he explores different situations. Okay. So Kitzur goes like the way I understand the most common scenarios. Okay. So Siman 65 and Siman 65 and C14, and it says the Seifim that follow introduce the innovative way of acquiring funds, which although similar to Ribbis, is nevertheless permitted. Rambam Hilchas Malavayova 5:14. Okay. So let's read till the end. One who has a promissory note drawn against his fellow may sell it to another person at this discount at the discount from the amount of the original loan. Okay, we're going to discuss. Today is very common. It's like special financial sector that does that. Okay. Even before the time the payment is due, the seller is to write the following to the purchaser: I thereby sell you this note. You shall thus acquire it, whatever lien it contains. The responsibility, for example, should the borrower's default on a note, must fall upon the purchaser. Only the responsibility that originates from the seller, such as claim that the note has been paid or the like, may fall upon the seller. And just as a lender may sell the note to another person at a discount, so too he may sell it to the borrower himself. Okay. Of course, at the discount price. Okay. So let's do it again, and we're going to explain. So from the beginning, this that follows, the seifim that follows, seifim is plural, introduce the innovative way of acquiring funds, which although similar to Ribbis, meaning that you gain in something extra, like on top of the loan, is nevertheless permitted. Okay. So let's see. So first one is when somebody sells the promissory note. So today is it's a big industry, like huge sector when they buy debts, right? So there is like, I'm not sure if it's even banks sell these debts. I think like the bigger institution, maybe the combination. I'm not sure. They sell the debts, and then they have a small institution that just divide them, right? And I was trying to help somebody many years ago to get rid of credit card debts, right? And person was in big depression, unfortunately, and then he gave me all of these letters, like from the creditors. And I started like, and I like, there are too many, like, okay. So I started calling this number and try to see if we can do a settlement. And they said, no, like we already sold it. I said, who do you sell it? We sell it to this company. So in one case, they sold it 5 times. 4 or 5 times from original credit card that person owned to another credit to another agency, another. So of course the next one is would collect the cheaper. Pay a cheaper price. I don't know, maybe they pay you like 40%, 50%. I'm not sure how they pay, how much they pay, but it's very interesting. So that's a big market. So they agreed to get 70%, 60%, whatever, 50% of the loan, because they're not sure if they I'm going to collect, or they don't want to wait, and they agree for to take losses, and that's how it works. Like so, same is here. One who has a promissory note drawn against a fellow may sell it to another person at the discount from the amount of original loan. So meaning that this person owes us $100, we can sell it to somebody else as $85. Okay, so this guy when he collects, but in promissory note it says that you have to pay 100. So if a guy is willing to wait, let's say, and as like when this a promissory note is the debt is due like maybe 3 months, 4 months, or whatever the time, right? And then he would be able to collect the whole $100 based on the promissory note, but he paid us 85. Okay. And that's how many people make money. Of course, there is risk that maybe somebody is not going to pay, but it's a different story. Okay. So may sell it to another person, at a discount from the amount of the original loan, even before the time payment is due. Okay. So meaning the person needs the money right now, so he can sell it. There is no problem. So it's not like he's getting interest. Right, he buys at 85 and he's going to like 100. Okay, so commentary same. A lender may sell a promissory note to a buyer, transferring him the rights to collect the debt. Right, so he does not sell him a loan, but because it's not a loan, but the rights to collect the debt. Invariably, the amount of the sale is less than the amount of the loan, right? As we said, he paid it 85, right, to collect 100. In this way, the seller, that is the lender, received the money without burden of and risk involved the collecting debt, right? Okay, and if the note is not yet due, without waiting for a loan to mature, the buyer takes upon himself the responsibility to collect the debt, but then profits by collecting more than he paid for the note. Although, in this case, the buyer extends the certain amount, expends a certain amount of money, and due time collects more than he paid. Okay, it is considered to be a form of Ribbis, but rather it's not considered to be a form of Ribbis, but rather business transaction. This is because the promissory note is a financial instrument with a real market value. Thus, one who buys the note is not lending money; he's simply making a purchase. Okay, so let's read again this note, and we're going to explain. That's the essence of this transaction, actually, in this note. Okay. So again, situation: one person lent to another $100, and the lender does not want to wait 6 months until the loan is due. So after 1 month, he sells it to somebody else. Okay, that's the case for $85, $80. So and that person is taking a risk. So first of all, the seller, meaning the lender, so he benefits. He does not want to wait, and then he found out that sometimes the guy defaults. His business is not good. His investment is very shaky. So he decided it's not worth it for me to wait, to take the risk. Maybe I'm going to lose even more. Right? So it's better for me to do it right now, sell right now, than to take complete risk. Okay. And the person who is buying this promissory note, so he's going to work, right? It's not, of course, he's going to make some money but it's not for free. Maybe he would need to collect, maybe take the guy to court, try to do all of these things. So yeah, so it's not like exactly free money. He's going to work with it. Okay, so one more time from the beginning, and we're going to see if we missed something. The lender may sell the promissory note to a buyer, transferring him the right to collect the debt. Okay. So far, so good, right? The lender, lender is a seller. Okay. Invariably, the amount of the sale is less than the amount of the loan. I mean, otherwise, why would somebody pay 100 to collect 100? Does not make sense. All right. So of course, it's very like small. Let's say $80. Okay. In this way, the seller, meaning lender is the same thing, receive money without burden and the risk involved collecting the debt. Right, as you say, maybe the market is going to go down, maybe this shake investment. Okay, but he agreed to have this loss, right? If the note is not yet due, without waiting for a loan pool to mature. Okay, he said, look, I need money now. I have better investment. I prefer to get 80 and invest and make much more money than wait until I'm going to get 100 maybe, or even if I'm going to get, but it's not worth it. The buyer takes upon himself the responsibility to collect the debt, but then profits by collecting more than what he paid for a note, right? So responsibility, of course, there is a risk, and of course, there is a work involved. Although in this case the buyer expends a certain amount of money, right? Buyer expends a certain amount of money, right? Meaning he paid this $80, and his due time collects more than he paid, is not considered to be a form of Ribbis. So it's not like he lent somebody this. So the buyer, it's not like he lended seller $80 in order to collect more. No, it's not, right? It's not Ribbis because it's like he bought something, some merchandise. In this case, it's like this promissory note, right? Right. But it's considered to be business transaction. This is because the promissory note is it's financial instrument. So it's not a loan, it's financial instrument with real market value. Okay, so real market value is 100, let's say, like face value, but he bought it for less. No problem. Thus, one who buys a note is not lending money. He's simply making a purchase, right? So you can, somebody's selling his apartment like fast because they need to move somewhere, right? Because they have a job opportunity, so they're ready to take a loss, right? So you buy for less and sell for more. So there is no problem with Ribbis. It's not like you lending him money. You're involved in the purchase. Okay, so same as here. The seller is to write the following to the purchaser, seller, meaning the lender. I thereby sell this note. You shall thus acquire whatever lien it contains. Okay, so he sells him a note, right? And this note has, in some sense, a value, right? Market value, right? And he said, like, it's all yours. Whatever, if he pays, good. If not, whatever was liened, right? So you can collect from collateral, basically. If the lien was put on his car, on his apartment, or something, right? So you would be able to collect. The responsibility, for example, should the borrower default on the note, must fall upon the purchaser. So if this guy cannot pay this $100, right, the borrower, so now the seller has nothing to do with that, right? So it's this borrower and the purchaser, meaning the second person. Okay. So let's see. There is one commentary, and it says, as long as the seller assumes responsibility for the debt, there is to pay the amount of a loan to the buyer. In event of default by the borrower, the note is still considered to belong to the seller and has not surely been sold. What they have actually done is that the buyer is lent the seller. Exactly. the amount that he paid for the note. There is amount of the original loan less the discount. When he collects the full amount of the loan from the original borrower, or in the event of the original borrower has no funds, from the seller, the amount amounts to collecting interest. Okay, so let's explain this note because it is very, very interesting. Okay. So the situation is, again, one person lends another $100, and then he sells this debt to somebody else for the 80. But when he sells, he removes he completely from transaction. So the original lender, and now we call him seller, has nothing to do with the loan, absolutely nothing. But if he says, if this lender says, I'm going to guarantee that he's going to pay you back, if not, I'm going to get involved, right, and I'm going to pay you and collect from him, that's 100% loan. 100% loan. It's not a purchase, and looks like this purchaser, the third person, is going to get interest, right? Because he lended money to the seller. So the proper way for the seller remove himself completely, and right where we said before that you are now in charge. Like whatever you want to collect. I'm out. Okay. So one more time. For as long as the seller assumes responsibility for the debt, right, there is to pay the amount of the loan to the buyer in the event of default of the borrower, like a co-signer, right? So he owns me, but please give me money. So if he would not be able to pay, I pay it. That's the huge problem. That's what is forbidden. The note is still considered to belong to the seller, meaning if he's not going to pay, I'm going to pay. So belong to the seller, and has not truly been sold. So if he sold something, like you cannot tell the person who bought from you something what to do. Okay, that's it. You sold it. What they have actually done is that the buyer has lent the seller the amount he paid for the note, right? So, or I mean, even the discounted amount. Okay. There is the amount originally less the discount, exactly. So it looks like in this case, if this seller has anything to do with the loan, so it's with the loan between him and the borrower, that's interest. When he collects the full amount of the loan from the original borrower, or in the event that the original borrower has no funds, from the seller, right? We're talking about third guy. The amount collects it amounts to collecting is interest, 100%. Okay, continue. Only the responsibility that originates from the seller, such as a claim that the note has been paid, or the like, may fall upon the seller. So meaning the seller removes himself completely from this deal, but the only thing that he might get him involved again. Why? In what case? If the lender, if the borrower comes and say, I already pay you back, right? So I pay you back, and you did not give me this promissory note back. So that's the thing. Okay, so then we have to call to court seller, right? That the seller was fraudulent, meaning that he sold something that has no value. This debt was already paid, but otherwise he's out completely of the picture. And just as the lender may sell the note to another person at a discount, so too he may sell it to the borrower himself, right? So let's see. I mean, I think in my understanding, it's even more less headaches, I would say, just to sell to the borrower at the discount price. Okay. For example, if loan was $100, $1,000, and is not due for another 6 months, he may offer to sell it to the borrower for 900. So meaning I agree, look, I lend it to you, but look, I need money. Like, you know what, don't pay me 1,000 as we promised, as we agreed, but pay me 900. The borrower does save $100 by repaying that 6 months earlier. Okay, so that's the thing, which is very interesting situation. Any questions on what we said? Because I think it is like one of the very common situation, especially today in the market when they sell credit cards. They sell like credit cards is just institutions, right? They manage the money from the bank. All of the credit cards connected to some kind of bank, right? It's not like they're separate banks. They're not. Okay. So any questions before I continue?
Rabbi?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Are we allowed to sell this note or this debt to a non-Jew?
Non-Jew, there's no problem, yeah. Okay, because we sell the note without interest, right? So he owes us $100. We sell him to non-Jew the note where it says that on November 15th he has to pay us $100, right? And we sell him for $80. I mean, the non-Jew, like, I mean, they cannot add anything to the promissory note. That's it. It's done. Okay.
Oh, so meaning from the moment we sell this note to the non-Jew, he cannot start like collecting interest from the debt?
No. The note, it says, so that this person, such and such person, owes to such and such person $100 to be collected on November 15th. Period. Right, and on the back of the note it says that I'm so and so, the seller, sell this promissory note to the buyer. Right, so buyer is a third person, and so he can so he may collect this amount or whatever is on lien for that amount. That's it. So it's only like the original contract is in place. You understand? So only name changed. So for this borrower, it's exactly the same to pay to this guy, to that guy. It's irrelevant for him. Okay. Any other questions before I continue? You're welcome.
So this question the board says, is the borrower allowed to ask for an extension with additional money?
Once a borrower, he can ask whatever he wants, but if he's not granted, I mean, but it's like our it's up to us. Like we can give him extension and additional money, or say no. Like first pay me whatever you said on the right date, the right amount, and then we talk, because that's how the crooks do. They try to milk somebody. No, I cannot. But please, I'm going to pay you. Like I mean, I got somebody like that I knew 30 years ago, maybe like long time ago, and we were not friends, but something like whatever. And so the guy said, please, he's in another country, right? So he said somebody got stuck. He's in the military in this military base, but he has to get like a lot of money. Please, I want, please lend me $5,000 or $7,000, and we're going to pay you double, because I like all this like whole story. Like I say, are you normal? Like who believes in this? I mean, people do believe, so they want a quick become rich quickly, and they say, yeah, okay, so to send $7,000, but I'm going to borrow from all of my relatives to get 20 back. Absolutely, that's a good deal. I'm a very smart, shrewd businessman. So of course, like nobody ever is going to pay back, but that's a different story. Okay. So what else?
friend says, sorry, I mean ask for intention in exchange for returning additional money. Is this Ribbis?
I didn't get the question. One more time, please. In exchange of what?
I mean ask for intention in exchange for returning additional money. Is this Ribbis?
Oh, yes. It's going to be Ribbis, of course. Of course, yes. So he said, look, I cannot pay on November 15th, but please extend to the December 17th. And you know what? I'm going to pay you extra for compensate you for your license, this and that. So 100% Ribbis, yes. Right? 100%. That's a good question. Okay. Anything else?
Hey, Rabbi.
Yes, you're welcome.
There's another question. It says, Shalom Aleichem, Kol Rav. Thank you for the shiur question. Are there any safeguards put in place to ensure that the debt being sold was legitimately incurred?
That's a very good question. That's last part where we said that this guy, the seller, is completely out, but there is exception if, as a person said, maybe the debt was paid off. You understand? Maybe it was paid off, and he just tried to scam, right? And try to sell this promissory note to somebody else. Maybe that guy was so excited that he paid off his loan that he forgot to ask for a promissory note back. You understand? The thing happened. People get excited, right? So they talk, they did l'chaim or something, and he forgot. And this guy, he forgot. You see, I have signatures of the witnesses. So you know what? I'm going to sell to somebody else. Yeah, is it guaranteed? No, there is no guarantee. I mean, you understand? So it's possible. So you can either if you call witnesses to the court to verify, you say, yeah, it's our signatures. We saw we were present, and when the money exchanged hands, yes. You understand? So that's but this person, the buyer, I mean the third person, has to take all of these things into consideration. There are no free money. Nobody gives you like 20% for exactly nothing. Right, so you're taking a risk, and maybe you would not be able to collect at all. Maybe this guy is going to run away to another country or something. So go chase him, right? And right, but that's why he's making this 20%. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions before we continue?
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Okay, so it's very, as you see, very, very involved. So let me quickly check. Time flies so fast. Okay. So let's try to do one more halacha. Number 15. Kitzur describes now how funds may be acquired by the means of the promissory note when someone does not currently own a promissory note. In this following manner, it can be effective. For example, Reuven, who is in need of money now, in the month of Nisan, approaches Siman, and as a favor to Reuven, Siman gives him promissory note drawn against himself that he is obligated to pay Reuven 100 gold pieces in the month of Tishrei, 6 months from now, in exchange that Reuven, who gives a similar promissory note to Siman, that he is obligated to pay him 100 gold pieces in Tishrei, so that Siman should be secure that Reuven will pay him. Reuven then goes and sell the promissory note that he has drawn against Siman to Leib. Now in Nisan, for 90 gold pieces. Reuven has now received 90 gold pieces for use until Tishrei. at which time he will pay Siman 100 gold pieces, which Siman pays to Leib. And certainly if Siman has a promissory note drawn against Yehuda, which is due after another some time, he may sell it to Reuven on a credit until that time, and Reuven will give him a promissory note in return for this. Reuven in turn will sell this note that he bought from Siman, today, for as such as he could receive for it. Nevertheless, this permissible only because he is selling it to a third party. However, if Reuven were to write a promissory note drawn against himself in order to sell it to Siman, even if he would do so by the means of the agent, it is prohibited. Okay, so it's very clear that it's complicated. That's clear for sure. Okay, so but let's go slowly, and we're going to BeEzrat HaShem, because B'siyata Dishmaya. I remember doing this case a long time ago, but B'siyata Dishmaya we're going to figure out. Okay, all right, let's start. Again, it's 15 from the beginning. Kitzur describes how the funds may be acquired by the means of promissory note when someone does not currently own a promissory note. Right, meaning that he's going to draw something like fictitious, and so that I owed him, right, to sell to somebody else in order to get money. Okay, that's the thing, right? So he wants to get money even though he does not have money, and to lend to somebody else. That's in a nut case, right? But let's see. Okay. So it from the beginning. In this following manner, it can be effective. Okay. For example, Reuven, who is in need of money now in the month of Nisan. So it's very interesting. Month of Nisan is approaching, right, in a few weeks, right? Month of Nisan. So Reuven needs money now. He approaches Siman, right? And as a favor for Reuven, so Siman wants to give money to Reuven, right? Now there is Nisan. Okay, that's the case. And as a favor for Reuven, Siman gives him promissory note drawn against himself. So Siman gives this note to Reuven. So Siman wants to give money to Reuven. He does not have money, right? But he said, and he writes a promissory note that I owe Reuven 100 gold pieces. Okay, but when? Not right now, in Tishrei. Okay. Siman gives a promissory note that drawn against himself, even though he did not get anything from Reuven. Okay, so just so we keep in mind, and that he is obligated to pay Reuven 100 gold pieces in the month of Tishrei 6 months from now. So again, Reuven needs money. He comes to Siman. Siman looks like he does not have money. But he wants to help his friend. And he said, yeah, okay, I'm going to give you a promissory note for 100 gold pieces that I owe you in Tishrei. So I borrowed from you now, but the maturity day is in Tishrei. Okay. And in exchange, so that's so far so good. Okay, so continue. In exchange, Reuven also give a similar promissory note to Siman. So basically, they just exchange the promissory note. There is no actual money involved, right? Reuven gives a promissory note to Siman that he is obligated to pay him 100 gold pieces in Tishrei. So Siman gave Reuven note that I owe you 100 coins in Tishrei, right? And Reuven gave Siman similar, not similar, the similar promissory note that I owe you 100 gold pieces in Tishrei. Okay. Continue. So that Siman should be secure that Reuven will pay him. So now they exchange a promissory note. Note there is no money involved so far. Okay, please let me know if it's clear before we continue. Any questions? Okay, no problem. Because I mean there are like many stages. So okay, so continue then. If somebody have a question, please send post it, and we're going to see maybe a few minutes later if somebody have a questions. Okay, so because I like everybody to be on the same page. Okay, so here's so for now they just exchange promissory notes, but no exchange of the money. Okay, so so Siman is secure, right? And Reuven is secure. There's no problem. So they're going to get the money. Okay, so basically they trust each other. Okay, Reuven then goes and sell the promissory note that he has drawn against Siman to Leib. Right. So he said that this guy owes me money. And Leib, technically there is no actual money involved, but Siman wants to get the money from Leib. Okay. No. Reuven wants to get the money from Leib. So he said, look, Mr. Leib, you know Siman? Siman is a respectable guy, right? So he owes me money, so you want to buy it, so for sure he's going to pay, right? To Leib, now in the month of Nisan, for 90 gold pieces. Okay, so of course, as we said, sell at discount, 10%. So Leib know that Siman is a respectful person, he's going to pay for sure, so no problem. Okay. Reuven has now received 90 gold pieces, right, for the use until Tishrei. Okay. At which time he will pay Siman 100 gold pieces, which Siman pays to Leib. Okay, so again, Reuven sold his debt, this promissory note that Siman gave him of 100 gold pieces to Leib, and Reuven has the money, this 90 gold pieces, to use until Tishrei, right? But in Tishrei he would need to pay Siman, right? He would need to pay Siman 100 pieces. Okay, so and then Siman would pay Leib this 100 pieces. Just so we know, right? Okay. Which Siman pays Leib. Okay. So let's. I'm going to read the note, but if any questions, please let us know, because I think it's very important to understand what we're talking about. So note 36. Although this is similar to Ribbis, in that Reuven acquires 90 gold pieces today, right? And it will cost him 100 pieces, right? But he would pay 100 to Siman, but Siman is going to pay Leib. So the money just travels. I mean, but technically, right? So he borrowed, he got 90, but he's going to pay 100. That's the idea. So that's why it looks like Ribbis. One more time. Although it is similar to Ribbis, in that Reuven acquires 90 pieces today, and it will cost him 100 gold pieces 6 months. In 6 months. Nevertheless, in fact, no actual loan occurred, in which interest would have been assessed. Right? There is no loan again. It was only on a paper. There was no exchange of money, right? Interest have in fact, no actual loan occurred, for which interest would have been assessed, since Reuven and Siman have merely exchanged promissory notes. Again, it's only like I mean, I would not call it fake, but in my mind, I'm just, it's my personal opinion. if Leib would find out that they did such a thing, I'm not sure if he would agree. Maybe yes, maybe no, but I would not be agree. Right? So meaning that they both sides are scamming a little, right? Later, but if he does not know and he see the promissory note with a stamp, with a signatures, everything, it's everything official. For him does not matter. But sometimes when you know the facts, you're not so excited. Okay. Later, when the Reuven pays his obligation to Siman, right? So this 100, it is an independent transaction. It's very interesting. It has nothing to do. It's independent transaction, right? Unrelated to the money that he obtained from the promissory note that he sold. Okay, right? Promissory note that he received from him. Okay, 36. Okay, so we continue. Any questions so far? Okay, so we continue. Please don't be shy. I mean, I understand just because I went through it some time ago. I don't know, a long time ago, but it doesn't matter. It's still once you understand, it's not so difficult. But if you're going first time, I think it's might sound very difficult. Continue. And certainly, if Siman has a promissory note drawn against Yehuda. So now we get in Yehuda, with which is the third guy, right? Certainly, if Siman, it's a fourth guy, right? Certainly, if Siman has a promissory note drawn against Yehuda, right, which is due after some time, so it's like a third person, he may sell it to Reuven on credit until that time. And Reuven will give the promissory note in return for this. So we got second layer, okay, of this promissory note. Reuven in return will sell this note that he bought from Siman today for as much as he could receive for it, right? So it's like a parallel transaction. Okay, so let's see 37. Here too, all the Reuven will receive less than a promissory note today, then he will eventually give Siman. Then the loan, when the loan matures, it is permitted, since when Siman pays him, he's not paying back the money he received from promissory note, right? Because again, there was no transfer of the money, but rather for independent obligation that he took upon himself in exchange to the loan to another. So he just obligated himself to pay for this piece of paper. Okay, which is totally fine. Nevertheless, this permissible only because he is selling it to the third party. Okay. However, if Reuven were to write a promissory note against himself in order to sell to Siman, that's too much, right? Even if he would means as an agent, it is prohibited. So meaning that I owe you this in this amount, right? Meaning it was only one promissory, not two that I owe you and you owe me, but it was only one. That would be forbidden. Commentary. There is, Reuven seeks to obtain funds right now by writing a promissory note, obligating himself to pay Siman 90 gold pieces in 6 months and sell it to the Siman for 90. Of course, I mean, right? He said, right? He said, I owe you 100, right? And I'm going to sell you this promissory note for 90. Okay, so that's a straightforward interest, Ribbis. So this is prohibited in commentary. This does not constitute the sale of a loan, since no obligation exists until the promissory note exchange hands. But there is no. He has only one promissory note. Thus, when he sells it to Siman for 90 gold pieces. He's actually borrowed from Siman 90 gold pieces, right? With the agreement that he will pay 100 gold pieces. It has transgressed the biblical prohibition of Ribbis, right? So meaning the promissory note was for that I owe you 100, right? And now you have a promissory note against me, right? And you pay me only 90. So that's that's Ribbis on the biblical level. Okay. So let's see. Any questions on what you said? Go ahead.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time understanding the part where the promissory note from against Yehuda shows up. The one Siman sells to Reuben on credit. This is the part that all the part before it's pretty clear, but this is where the things get a little bit more complicated. I don't know. Okay,
so we can go about the cover Yehuda part. So let me know if there are any questions until the Yehuda comes in. I think I explained a few times, but still maybe it's not clear. Because okay, go ahead. Any questions or somebody?
Our friends are still typing their question. Okay, there's Leib and Yehuda not in the wrong both case because 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's a question on the board. That is in regards with if this is including the Yehuda thing. I don't know. Should I read it still?
Okay, yeah. So let's read it. Maybe we combine them together. Yeah, go ahead. Please read it.
There's are Levi and Yehuda not in the wrong both? Because number one, they're essentially borrowing without collateral, since the debt is a fabrication in order to get their hands on equity they never had, and two, gambling with the assumption that they will make a profit with the funds from Siman. I may have mixed up the names.
Okay, that's a very good question. That's what I said. If I were on in a Levi's position, I would say absolutely not. Something is cooking there. It's not correct. But technically, what they say, look, I owe you, you owe me. So no money is exchanged in the hands. But 6 months from now, I owe you 100 and you owe me 100. So what is the problem? There's not a problem. Is it collateral? Usually whoever has this question is 100% right. So you usually in a promissory note they would list collaterals unless it is a property, a real property. Then it's obvious. So nobody, because I think we learned before, and there is a rule in the Torah. So if there is a contract, like lending contract, and there is nothing say about collateral, it is a scribal error, right? For sure, because it's scribe. He forgot about it. No normal person would lend somebody else without some collateral. Why would you do so? If he's as poor as a dirt and you want to lend them your last $10,000, that you were saving for the past 60 years or something, you normal, yeah. If you're not normal, yeah, do that. But if he gives you collateral that costs much more, like diamond ring, I don't know, something his title to his apartment or something, I would understand, but otherwise no. So the way I understand, there was collateral written in the note, even though it does not say that, but I would assume, or it is understandable that something it's not just piece of paper. But even this time, so meaning the Levi, he would say, yeah, collateral. Basically, I can collect. After, afterwards, I still can collect if he's going to default. This ruin is going to default. Okay. So let's. Any other questions? So we can go to this Yehuda part. Okay. So
Yeah,
again. Okay.
There's another question. I wonder how can we apply the same logic on the safe in the case of cashing item on credit as a special way of lending money, like in Save 13. If we intend to acquire some products on credit for cashing it, and instead of returning money, we give the owner a promissory note as return to avoid prohibition in Save 13. Is this allowed?
So in CF 13, we actually did discuss last time. So just to remind us. So the guy buys item on credit, and he knows that he does not need an item, but he needs quick money, and he knows that somebody else is going to buy this item at a discount. That's if I remember correctly, that was the thing, right? And he goes and he actually sells it, right? I mean, he sells it at a discount, and then he would need to pay like a full price to the seller, right? That was the case. Okay, but okay. So now when we did the summary, please read the question again, because please.
So I wonder how can we apply the same logic on the safe in the case of cashing item on credit as special way of lending money, like in Save 13.
Mm-hmm.
If we intend to acquire some products on credit for cashing it,
mm-hmm.
and instead of returning money, we give the owner promissory note as return to avoid prohibition in Save 13. Is this allowed?
No, it's not. No, it was the money was about like here two separate totally different situations. In CF13, it was actually the merchandise was exchanged hands. I mean that's normal. That's a business transaction. There is no problem whatsoever with that business transaction. Right, and then person sold, but as we mentioned, like later on, it does not look like how did you say it? Just one second. So we said that there is a possible that somebody buys things and he would sell it at loss, right? And it would worth it for him, right? But okay, one second. The last paragraph. Similarly, if none of the above prohibited circumstances were present for the purchaser to buy the merchandise at a high price on credit, for the purpose of reselling it immediately to someone who will pay without delay at a loss, right? So that the money should be sometime in his hand is also prohibited, right? Because as we said, it was like his intention. Okay. So it looks like, I guess it looks like a loan. Right, so he needed money. He did not need merchandise. He needed money. But if in a circumstance that he wanted to resell it and then he decided to go to a different business, that's a different story. So sometimes people would he would think, as I remember we said, oh, I have to go to the different place to sell it because otherwise the market is full of this merchandise I didn't expect. They're going to import from here, from there. So he said, I'm going to sell it at loss and buy something else. So there is no problem. But if his intention was to sell it just to get money, it's a loan. Right? It was just instrument to get the money. But in this case, there's nothing was exchanged to begin with. Right? There is no loan. There is no loan. In that case, it was the merchandise was given, like merchandise or money. You can convert money to merchandise, right? That's or merchandise to money. That's understand. But here there's nothing. There's no actual transaction. That's the thing. That's how this 15 is different from 13. There is no actual transaction. They just exchange papers, right? So that's a big difference. Okay. Any other questions before I continue? Okay, you're welcome. So let's go to our Yehuda case. So I mean, Levi, we got the point. Okay. So but let's see. And certainly if Siman. So Siman is the guy who. Reuven is the guy who in needs of money, and Siman is a guy who trying to help Reuven. Okay, so basically these notes are against Siman because he's a respectable person, maybe like he's a rich person, right? So people would lend to Siman. Okay, so they would buy the promissory note of Siman. Why? Because like it is known that he's going to pay back. Okay? I mean, it's not known, but I mean known, and it's a pretty safe transaction. Okay. So one more time. So and go to Yehuda's part, and certainly if Siman. So before that, again, the first part, Siman gave to Reuven who needed money, and Reuven gave to Siman, right? And then Reuven, when in needs of money, he sold this promissory note of Siman's promissory note to Levi. Okay, so basically Reuven needs the money. Siman does not need anything from anybody. He's just using his good name in order to help Reuven. That's the thing. So now Yehuda, and certainly if Siman, so the guy with a good name, right? He does not need the money. Certainly if Siman has a promissory note drawn against Yehuda, right, which is due to after some time, right? So meaning I owe it to Yehuda. He may sell it on credit, sell it to Reuven on credit until that time, until that time, and Reuven will give him promissory note in return for this. So let's do this. I mean, now I myself got a little confused. So again, Siman is a rich person, right? Reuven in needs of money. So Siman is trying to raise more money for Reuven through Yehuda. Okay. And certainly, if Siman has a promissory note drawn against Yehuda, so meaning I guess Yehuda owns money to Siman, right? Yehuda owns 100 gold pieces to Siman, right? Which is due in some time, right? He may sell it to Reuven on credit, so he can give Reuven this promissory. Siman can give this promissory note to Reuven, right, on credit, meaning without money, and Reuven will give the promissory note in this return, right? And Reuven will give Siman the promissory note that you gave me this note from Yehuda. Reuven in return will sell this note that he bought from Siman today, right? And Reuven would sell this note. Reuven, the guy who needs some money, will sell this note, right, that he bought from Siman about Yehuda, right, as for much as he could, right? Okay, could get for it. Nevertheless, this is permissible only because it is a third party. So meaning Reuven gets the money because Yehuda owns Reuven, and Reuven gives it to this promissory note that Yehuda owns to Siman money. He gives it to Reuven, right? And Reuven gives the promissory note to Reuven that to Siman that he owns money for the promissory note of Yehuda. Okay. So let's do this 37 commentary. Here too, all the Reuven will receive less than the promissory note. So meaning for 90 or something, right? Today, then he will eventually give Siman. Okay. So because he would give Siman 100. When the loan matures and is permitted, since Siman pays him, he is not paying back the money he receives for the promissory note. Okay, but rather as an independent obligation that he took upon himself in exchange for a loan and another. So it's like it's a separate transaction. Okay, so I'm not sure if like in real life if it's going to occur, but even if we understand, I guess the straightforward approach with this Reuven and Siman exchange a promissory note, and Leib buying for cheaper. So because it's an independent transaction, and needless to say, if it's a third party, so if they can sell it to each other, needless to say, if somebody else is involved, like this Yehuda person. Okay. So I guess we can stop here.